This is my hobby, the greatest hobby. Hello everyone, back at it again with our Talisman character exploration guide. And now, we have moved on from the Blood Moon expansion character to the 4 Sacred Pool expansion characters. The forces of good and evil now converge into a head-on collision against one another. So let's go ahead and get started on these characters. The first creature of evil. I want to bring to you a character who is a fierce and malevolent creature that harnesses dark magics to enhance his already formidable martial skills. I bring to you the cursed Dread Knight. So what does the Dread Knight encompass? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at his character card. As you can see here, he's got a strength of 2 and a craft of 3. He's got 1 fate, 4 lives. He's an evil character who starts in the graveyard. As you can see in this bottom right corner here, you can see a little woman with her arms stretched out. This is the Sacred Pool expansion, which is more so referred to as a Lady of the Pool symbol. So whenever you have the base game and you're trying to differentiate what exactly is in the Sacred Pool expansion, this is the symbol to look out for. So all the adventure cards, all the spell decks, the quest reward cards, and even the stable decks are all differentiated with that Sacred Pool logo that I just showed you. So it makes things easier if it's an expansion that you're not particularly interested in playing with. But as you could probably also see, with the Dread Knight, he's only got 2 character abilities. What kind of nonsense is this? We're gonna have a character in a brand new expansion and he's only got 2 character abilities? Well, the thing is with character abilities, generally the lower the quantity, the higher the quality of the character ability. So first things first, you begin the game with 1 warhorse from the stables deck. If you lose the warhorse, you may take 1 from the stables deck for free if you visit the graveyard. Again, as we're starting to see this pattern here, that characters like the Dread Knight, and if you haven't watched my Blood Moon expansion character videos, then you will start to see the connection that the Grave Robber also has advantages inside of the graveyard, as he also shares this same space. But just looking at the warhorse here, here's his card. As you can see here, this ability is very much so similar to the monk in his regard, as far as what it does. And while it's not a bad follower to have, especially with the fact that the Dread Knight's craft value is a craft value of 3, so that already puts you at a strength of 5 when you have the warhorse, which is very similar to the Knight and the Reaper expansion video. It's good, but it's not necessarily great, because you're not right out of the gate starting with any immediate protection. However, this is where the second character ability of the Dread Knight starts to come into play. Whenever you kill an enemy, you may gain a spell if your craft allows. So right now, the Dread Knight has a craft of 3, so he can only carry 1 spell. But as you start killing things, you start to build up your craft, and then you're able to carry more spells, where killing more enemies becomes more useful. And that's the Dread Knight's way of cycling spells in his own particular fashion. Because, like the Knight, the Dread Knight inside of the Sacred Pool expansion already has a huge early head start when it comes to being able to take on the multitude of weaker enemies that will appear. But just note that he is an evil character, and that is very much important inside of the Sacred Pool expansion, because there are things that the Dread Knight will have access to that other characters want, who are either good or neutral, but it's the same the other way around. He's not going to have access to those particular kinds of cards, objects, followers, abilities, and that sort of thing. So, do I think the Dread Knight is a solid build? Yes and no. The fact that you can, depending on the certain expansion, lose the Warhorse pretty quickly, but also maybe gain him back, is a risk that you gotta be willing to take, especially if you have the dungeon expansion, and you think that you go into there too early. There are plenty of things that can get rid of your Warhorse, and the fact that you only have one faith leaves you with very little, if any, defense against the Harbinger, the Werewolf, or the Reaper. So you're kind of exposed with the Dread Knight, as you only got one shot to make sure that your rolls are correct. So that is definitely something to take into consideration. When it comes to an overall tier list, I'd honestly say when it comes to the Sacred Pool expansion characters, put them more so towards the bottom of the list, if not the very bottom. Just simply because of the fact that it's only 2 abilities, and that these abilities have a bit of a harder time when it comes to snowballing and gaining momentum to where the Dread Knight can eventually pull ahead of the competition. But hopefully you found this video to be very useful to you, and I will see you guys in the next Sacred Pool video.